Welcome to a small Baltic country, Lithuania, and the most famous resort in the Baltics, Palanga, which is located on the shore of the Baltic Sea. For the 15th time in a row, the biggest motorsports event in Eastern Europe takes place here once a year. It's the Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. There are only 15,000 inhabitants in Palanga, but during the race, resorts grow and welcomes 10 times more tourists.
For me, all time special to come here. It's something we don't have, so it's crazy to race in the streets, and it's good organized, a lot of spectators. We love it a lot.
Well, I want to thank you, really, the government or the city and also the organization, because it means that they are really interested in racing. And in a lot of other countries, they are getting tired of racing people. They always do stupid things like less noise for tracks and so on. And here it's nice, they are open-minded and they see that outside on the race or the race cars, it brings also tourists to Palanga. And I think it's good for Palanga, it's good for the people who do the business here, and also for the racers, because you feel we are welcome here. And okay, maybe now we need to a little bit adapt on the new racetrack, but from my side it's nice. It's a nice step. You can drive fast as pilot, you can have the best material you can have, but it's also a bit luck. And I said this year, track faster pilots, you need to stay out of trouble, and I think who stay out of trouble and driving with a smart mind, he will finish first this year.
The track is, there's a lot of new asphalt, so it will be very, very slippery in the beginning because there is no grip. But I think, that corner, I tried yesterday 2 times that corner. In the beginning I was a little bit skeptic, but I think it's okay. It's a little bit dangerous, but it's for everybody. It's the same. So when you watch out, it's gonna be good.
Well, it's a great show here. The parade is fantastic. So many people to see the cars, and also the track is very interesting. It's part highway, a couple of chicanes, 2 quick corners, and the rest is a lot of braking, a lot of hard braking. So there will be an interesting race.
You are a real racing legend, but you never raced in Lithuania before.
No, it's. I was invited by Eric, my co-driver, and Martinez, you know, and they said, well, you have to come to do this race. You know, I've done every race in the world almost, and I'd be happy. I'm happy that I did it, and I will be back next year again.
Did you count countries? In how many countries did you race?
Well, I don't know how many countries, but I did about 109 tracks. And the last 3 years, no new track came with it. So this is a new track for me, so I'm almost to 110 tracks in my life.
This year, the race brought together 43 teams from 12 countries. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Belgium, Great Britain, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, Spain, the United States, Russia and Belarus. There are 145 sportsmen participating in the race. The race is held on the streets, and all year round the traffic is very intense here, and only 1 week per year the road is closed and becomes a racetrack. The race is called the Lithuanian Le Mans. It attracts up to 100,000 spectators during the race weekend. The racers have already moved into the warm-up lap. 1 lap in this race is a warm-up and another is formation lap. So while the racers are warming up the tyres, here is some information about the changes to the track. This year the track configuration was changed a little. Up until now, in order to drive the 1,000 kilometers, the sportsman had to overcome 334 track laps. Now, when a few turns have been changed, the track is much faster and a little shorter. 1 racing lap is 2,682 meters, so the entire 1,000 kilometer distance of the race consists of 373 laps. The qualification race takes place in 2 stages. In the first part, all of the sportsmen go together. 10 cars with the best time results enter the Super Pole qualification and compete for the first 10 starting positions. So here we go. In 1 hour we'll show you what happened during the 10 hours race in Palanga, full of adrenaline and pressure. So the start, and immediately the winner of the qualification takes the lead. This year 2 Radical cars were the fastest in the qualifying. The winner SR8 and the second place SR5. Behind them Aquila CR1 and last year's winner Porsche 911 GT3. Behind them, 3 BMW cars belonging to the Dutch team JR Motorsport, BMW M3 Silhouette, BMW M4 Silhouette, and BMW M3 GTR. Marcos Mantis started from the 8th place. 2 more BMW M3 started from the 9th and 10th places. According to the rules, if they will not cover that distance of 1,000 kilometers during the 10 hours, the race will be stopped. During the 15 years that this race has been held, only twice the race was stopped earlier, and the winners did not cover the whole 1,000 because of a very heavy rain. Let's hope that this year they will cover the whole distance. Well, you can see, just after a couple of laps, the race leader, Spanish team Speed Factory Racing, is already ahead of the Sportsman, lagging behind 1 lap. And these are the last year's winners. General Financing still by pit lane with Porsche 911 GT3 Cup. This year, Sebastian Blekemolen for the Netherlands joined the team of 3 Lithuanian racers. In addition to Sebastian, Benediktas Venagas and 2 brothers Nemonas Dagilas and Neris Dagilas are racing with this car. This is a very strong team, and they might not be as fast as the Radical SR8, but the main issue of the long distance race is not so much speed as stability. And here is Barbara, Aquila CR1 of Bauer team. This car started in the 3rd place but has climbed to the 2nd position immediately. This car last year improved the track record and was the fastest car in the race. However, for 2 years in a row, they were not lucky to win the Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. The car cannot boast of reliability. The car was broken last year and 2 years ago as well. Maybe this year they will succeed. The team hasn't invested heavily and says that the car is like a whole new one. However, it is interesting that the Aquila car does not show high reliability and breaks often. They very rarely finish the race, which continues for more than 8 hours without technical problems. This year, 3 rally racers from Lithuania sit behind the wheel of Aquila. And here are the first problems. One of the leaders is BMW. This is the team Brum Brum Vitamins by JR Motorsport from the Netherlands. It is a pity, only a half hour since the start, and they're already having some problems with that front right wheel. The smoke coming from the front wheel, it's a failure of the brakes. For some reason, one of the front wheels is being blocked under heavy braking. Perhaps some sort of incident. Maybe the driver collided with something, even though the front of the car does not appear to be damaged. The mechanics are drilling holes in the wheel arc, hoping that a better cooling of the wheel will prevent the overheating of the brakes. 2 years ago, this car won the 1,000 kilometer race in Palanga, and they were 2nd last year, although then it was raced by other drivers. This year, the team consists of 2 Lithuanians and a Dutch Benoit Dupont. And this is a brand new car, BMW M4 Silhouette, yet another car prepared by Dutch team JR Motorsport, a freshly prepared silhouette according to the latest BMW model. Mojo Lounge Racing Team's racers started only from the 6th place. Now they have climbed by 2 positions and are quickly catching up with Marcos Mantis, driving in the 3rd place. Belgian Steve van Bellegem started the race. Ward Slews and Daniel Columby also drive for this team. Ward and Steve already won in Palanga 2 years ago, then they drove a BMW M3 Silhouette. These guys know the track very well. They race in Palanga probably for the 6th year in a row already. Every year, these drivers are fighting for the winners' names in Palanga. Steve van Bellegem and Ward Slews race in Belgium and the Netherlands in GT and Supercar Championships and are very experienced long-distance racers. General Financing, still Team Porsche 911 GT3 climb to the 5th position. Little by little, Nemonas Dagilas is increasing the pace and they've climbed 1 position up. However, it is very difficult to race with the Radical prototypes. Porsche lags behind the leaders for more than 2 laps. However, Radical has a very small fuel tank. They will have to stop at the petrol station every hour, maybe even more, so Porsche still has hopes to catch up with the leaders. And here is one more Porsche, the 968 EBR. It stands next to the track. What has happened? Here's a repeat. Nothing special. Just a racer did not have enough time to take a turn and drove straight in order to stop. This Porsche is driven by another experienced racer, Averis Perigas. 10 years ago he won the 1,000 kilometer race in Palanga, then he raced with Audi RS4. Averis hasn't competed for 6 years, and now after such a break it is not easy to return to the race. And here is Brum Brum Vitamin's team's BMW being collected after repair. It will probably soon be able to continue the race. And here is the leader of the race, the Spanish team Speed Factory Racing with Radical SR8. The leader of this team, Latvian sportsman Konstantin Kalko, competes in Radical Masters Euro Series Championships in SR8 category. He won the qualification in Palanga and improved the record of the changed track. Konstantin will soon be replaced by another team sportsman because the drivers in Palanga 1,000 kilometer race must change every hour. And this is the winner of the second place in the qualification. 15 minutes GSR Team's Radical SR5 has problems. Only after an hour race they collided with a racer who was behind one lap and damaged their car. For a long time the team is trying to rebuild the damaged car. They are lagging behind the leaders a lot and drop to the very end of the classification. Brum Brum Vitamin's team is going further. BMW is repaired and is now able to run at full speed. But they wasted a lot of time, and out of the 42 teams they are now driving only at the 38th place. It is unlikely that this team will make it to the top 10 fastest teams, although the finish is still very far and many things can happen. Less than an hour in the race, and here's the race leader, Speed Factory Racing, coming to the petrol station to fill up. They were ahead of Barbara's Bauer team Aquila only by one lap, and this wasted time can lead to losing their leader's position. In the long distance race, in order to unify the car's speeds, the capacity of the fuel tank is limited. The tank limit for the car is the lowest, only 50 litres. The team had planned to fill up the fuel tank once per hour, but it seems that they will have to do this more often. It is very difficult to compensate for that lost time. The team spends about a minute for refueling. This is almost as long as it is necessary to drive one racing lap. And now Radical is already moving back to the track. And no, they're still coming back as leaders. But the Barbara Bauer team Aquila Racing at the second place are already on the same lap. Radical leads with less than a minute. And this is Sostino Renault Sport Team. The team with a new Renault Clio Cup car is racing at the 27th position. And it will be nothing special if not one fact. The team is unique because all of its members, women. Not only the 3 racers are women, but also the whole team of mechanics, and even the team leader is a woman. You can notice that all people around the car are women. There was a special selection competition, and there was nearly 100 women applying for the position. However, the team hired only 12. All 3 racers, professionals from Lithuania. The team leader, Ernesta, had once participated in the European Radical Challenge race. Now she is one of the leaders of the Baltic Touring Car Series Championships, where she races with Ginetta G50 car. The first hour of the race has already passed and the first changes in the pits begin. Here is Marcos Mantis returning to the track. After their first race hour, they are at the great 3rd place. Oh, what an incident on the track! At the end of the start-finish straight, one of the BMW cars stopped and the smoke is coming out. This is the BMW M3 GTR of the Dutch team JR Motorsport. But it doesn't look like some sort of accident. The car just caught fire while racing. Very strange and annoying trouble. By the way, this car earlier this year in Dubai 24 Hours race won 1st place in its class. At the end of the straight, our car caught fire. So far, we do not know whether there was an accident or the car just overheated and caught fire. Now the car is being dragged to the pits. We will try to fix it and race further. Yes, so far we drove quite well. We had an incident before, broke the tyre. We had to go into the pits to change the wheel. We were among the top 10 of the fastest and really believed we will fight further. But now when the car caught fire, we'll see what's going on and I hope we'll be able to continue the race. Simas had just got out of the car after the driver change. He is the European karting champion and this is the 3rd Palanga race for him. Many predicted a place on the podium for this team. Well, the car has been dragged to the pit lane. It does not look visually damaged, so it is not an accident. The car is all covered with flour from the fire extinguishers, but the team should be very quick to fix it. It seems that the fire has not had a heavy impact. The team quickly repaired the car, and again it's back on track. Formula 2 racer Kazim Vasilikauskas was driving at the time of the fire incident. The beginning of the race was not the sweetest for us, sure. First, the Dutch racer lost the tyre from the wheel, then we lost communication with the team. Simus refueled prematurely, and now for me in the second turn, probably in the slowest on the track, the accelerator pedal jammed. The carbon fibre plate loosened and simply retracted into the accelerator pedal. The feeling wasn't nice. You enter into a slow turn and your car's accelerator is pressed to the floor. I put the whole system down and the smoke began to come probably from the hot brakes. The firefighters arrived to distinguish, but nothing terrible happened. The most important thing is that it is not an engine failure, the car was dragged, fixed, and we're now moving on. I hope nothing more will happen because even though these troubles are small, they do cost time.
Ir tęsime varžybas ir tikiuosi tų nesklandumų daugiau nebus, nes jie tokie kainuojantis laiką.
And just a couple of minutes later and another accident. On the back straight, two cars collided. Alfa Romeo GT and Renault Clio Sport. Just when the marshals cleaned up the track from the fire, this safety car moved away and soon here is another clash. It's a shame because it is the white Renault which is driven by the girls' team. Alfa Romeo have moved, but Renault is still standing. Just before the clash, the girls' team had risen to 20th place and were fighting for the third in its class. It is a big pity. Alfa moved towards the pits. Crooked front wheel, the car is battered, but can move further. The white Renault has also moved. Currently, Agne is at the wheel. She is a professional rally co-driver, and this Palanga 1,000 kilometre race is the first in a long distance race career. On her way to the S-shaped turn on the back straight, Agne was slowing down and the Alfa Romeo behind her did not have enough time to slow down. Hit the Renault and both slipped into the fence. The fences on the track are broken. Marshals will have to work again to fix them, and the safety car is back on track. A lot of mistakes and a lot of accidents in this year's Palanga race already. Both drivers have just changed. Maybe we're not yet unaccustomed to the car. Maybe the tyres were not sufficiently warm, and that's why the drivers did not calculate their potential correctly. And another incident! This time it is a new turn of the track and Lesta Lotus team. This is the Lithuanian team. 4 sportsmen were supposed to drive in a rotation. It is likely that some of them will not get an opportunity to drive in this race. The team drove in the 29th position, and it seems that they will not be able to continue the race. The car suspension is completely wrecked. It is interesting if it was driver's fault or something helped him. Here we have the repetition. Well, it seems that Lotus had the opponent's help. A small nudge to the rear and the car crashed into the barriers unmanaged. Again, a very dangerous place, and again the safety car will be back on the track. Open cars such as Lotus are not safe in this type of tracks where there are no large safety zones. Therefore, starting with the next year, the organisers plan to no longer allow open top type cars in the race. So this year is the last when an open top car has the chance to win. Until now, in the history of the race in Palanga, it has been done only once, when the AGM kit car won. All the other times the victory went to touring cars. I came to a turning point, started to brake, and the racer behind me hit the rear of my car. As a result, I turned around and hit the fence with the front right wheel. We have a small problem, but I think we'll solve it. The column nozzle of the front steering wheel broke, but it is easily replaced. We also lack the rear lights, but I think that soon we'll be able to continue the race. And this is the girls' team Renault brought back to the pits. You see, all the mechanics are girls. They will have to put a lot of work so that the car is able to continue the race. While the mechanics work, we ask the team leader what has happened and is it possible to fix the car and continue the race. As I understand it, we had an argument on the track with the Alfa Romeo team. I still have to talk to the track marshals and check what did really happen. As the car is being repaired, now I don't want to disturb my racer. But Alfa Romeo is alright. We will also move on after a little repairing. Nothing special happened. We wanted to talk to the racer Agne, but she probably is very nervous because of the incident. It is normal, the whole team wants to go and not change the radiator. After all, it's not the radiator changing competition. Maybe a little nervous, but otherwise okay, we're not stressing. And this is Speed Factory Racing Team's Radical SR8. Drivers are currently changing, using the fact that the safety car is still on the track and the race is paused. So far, this team has a record of the fastest lap, 1 minute 9 seconds. Hardly anyone will improve in this race. There is no close competitor likely to do so. However, a small, just 50-litre tank keeps this car from braking far away from the opponents. Drivers have to stop at the petrol station every 45 minutes and wasting time refilling the tank. Also with this changing, if they take longer, they are risking losing the first position as the second team is very close. After a 4-hour race, the leaders are changing for the first time. Speed Factory Team, after the change and refueling, dropped significantly to the 4th place. And a new leader is Barbara's Bauer Team's Aguila CR1. They are now ahead of Porsche, which is driving in a 2nd place. The Dutch team Mojo Lunge, racing by JR Motorsport, moved to the 3rd place. This Aguila CR1 has the new BMW M3 engine. Last year, the team used a powerful 7-litre Corvette engine, but this year they decided to take a lighter alternative. Before this race, the car was tested many times in Zandvoort track in the Netherlands, but the tests are one thing and the race is another. Although Aguila is not known for high reliability, however, after a 4-hour race, the team is not experiencing any technical problems. The leader of this team, Ramonis, won Palanga 1,000 kilometers 7 years ago. It is time to repeat his achievement. Speed Factory Racing Team rode on the track not for very long. They again drove back to the pit lane. This time it is a malfunction. It turns out that the oil pump of the gearbox of the Radical SR8 was broken. Without it, you cannot switch gears, and the team had to stop. It's good that the pump is fixed in such a way that it is very easy to change it. Mechanics are quickly changing the part, but this is a disadvantage for the team. Now they'll have to go at maximum speed. The team mechanics changed the oil pump of the gearbox in 15 minutes. And this is the car that has moved to 2nd place. The winners of the last year's race once again seek to repeat this achievement. The interesting thing is that one team has never won twice in a row in the history of Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. Maybe this will be for the first time. And it is also interesting that out of 14 victories in this race, 8 times won various modifications of Porsche 911 cars. It's really very successful car for this race. Here is the girls' team refilling fuel tanks. Please note that this car is served by the girls even in the petrol station. And what a happy driver. She really doesn't lose a good mood, and despite previously suffering an accident, the girl rides in the 35th place overall. Of course, they are not fighting for victory, but more importantly, they want to show that girls can not only race, but also serve the car. It seems that after the accident, it was fixed well and everything is running smoothly. And once again, the safety car is on the track because 2 more cars have been removed from the track. Alfa Romeo, which 2 hours ago experienced an accident, is moved. Perhaps the team didn't fix it completely and there are some major problems. Unfortunately, the race is finished for Marcos Mantis as well. It's a real pity as the racer Cor Oeser is a true Belgian car sports legend. Oh, ho, 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 ho. What a surprise! The leaders of the race stopped. What happened? We will ask one of the racers, Ramonas Kapkukas. Maybe he knows what happened to the car. I found out that something happened only now, a couple of seconds ago. I just drove myself and everything was fine. And now a colleague is driving and says that the gearbox is not working. He cannot change the gears. He cannot drive. So now the car has been dragged. Soon the mechanics will look at the certain areas that affect the gears, and then we'll see. Now nothing can be done. We'll try to look for the problem. It's still unclear what might have happened to the Barbaras team at Kilakar. The team is discussing what to do and where to look for the problem. While the car is being evacuated from the track, they need to prepare and discuss all the possible scenarios. Well, the predictions came true. Aquila broke down after 4.5 hours since the start. Now the leader of the race is General Financing Still Team's Porsche. Oh no! It also stops! What happened? 2 leaders stopped at the same racing lap! This never happens! This is unbelievable! Totally confused teams does not know what to do. The incredible scenario, in 1 lap, the 2 leaders stopped the race because of the broken cars. Akila's problem was still possible to predict, but Porsche cars are one of the most reliable cars. What could have happened? We will find out soon, and here comes the rescue car. Porsche will be dragged back to the pit lane. Oh, maybe the team will still be able to continue the race. However, even so, the wasted time will get them so far behind that it will be very unlikely for them to be fighting for first place in the race. Oh, really sorry for them. They only found out a couple of seconds ago that they are the leader in the race, and here they are already standing on the track. This is incredible. This is just incredible. The whole team is confused and worried. We're asking the team's racing driver what happened. So far, we know that we've had trouble with the gearbox, but the car will now be dragged and we'll find out what happened. After dragging the car to the pit lane, it was revealed that the Porsche gearbox was broken. After discussion, the team decided not to go and not to repair the gearbox. General Financing Still Team's goal was the first place, as the gearbox change will take a lot of time and it will be simply impossible to fight for a high position after all. The team leaders decided to withdraw from the race. Sadly, in the same lap, we lost the 2 leaders. Such are the long distance race, ladies and gentlemen. It is impossible to predict anything. Yeah, it is a pity. We were in front. We had the lead, which was tangible, but the drive shaft of the car did not survive. It just broke. There was no opportunity to drive further. Had to wait until they dragged us here. Mechanics did what they could and worked as fast as they could, but this is not a defect that can be removed in a minute. We had to spend a lot of time and it cost us a lot of positions. But luckily, it's not the gearbox failure. Yes, but drive shaft is probably the most important part of the transmission, without which the wheels are not spinning and it's just impossible to drive. Your competitors have dropped out and you continue to fight for the winner's title? Or is it already hard to think about? Well, I think that to dream of the first place would be too bold, but the hope dies last. If we have no more unpleasant surprises from Aquila, then we will try to do everything that is possible and depend on us. But competitors are strong, and they're not standing still. Anyway, the race is not over yet. It's over when we see the finish flag. We're not lucky. I don't wish this for anybody. However, others might be not so lucky later. And here we go, and after 5 hours of racing, here are the new leaders of Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. Mojo Lounge Racing by JR Motorsport from the Netherlands. They're now changing, however, this will remain the first. The second, Speed Factory Racing Radical lags behind in 2 laps. After this change, the teams will be less than a lap away, so the fight for the leader's name is again very fierce. Only the fighting teams are changing. The Dutch team also has problems. It is hot here in Palanga, so not only are the racers suffering, but also the cars.
Yeah, we are now in the first position and we have 2 or 3 laps in front, I think. And now with safety car, I see we have a little bit problems with the brakes and with the temperature of the car. So in the beginning also from the race, we didn't push. We did our tragedy and we tried to drive like we must drive. But we didn't push, and I think that is now the result of that. So I hope that we can stay on the first position for the rest of the race.
Can you tell us about the car? Is there some problems or something?
Yeah, the car is good, but when we push too hard in the revs, then the temperature is going high. And when we go to slipstream or other cars, the temperature go to 105, 107, 108, and it is too high. We cannot go higher than 105, so we must watch out. And now we have a little bit problems also with the brakes, so I hope we can get the end without doing extra pit stops.
And of course, we all remember last year, final lap, so you remember too, yeah?
Yeah, last year we were 35 seconds behind on the last lap, and now I hope it will be not like that.
This is BMW M4 Silhouette. After changing in the pits, they remain in the first place, but the Spanish team Radical rides on the same lap with them, so the fight for first place is in full swing. Steve Van Belleghem and Warslow's race with this car in Supercar Challenge GT Division race, and last year they won the first place in overall. These are really very fast racers and a very fast car. I will remind you that these two drivers last year won a second place in Palanga in 1,000-kilometre race and are full of determination to win it outright this year. Driving an older BMW Silhouette car, both of these sportsmen also won a race in Palanga in 2010. However, this year it will not be easy. The Spanish Speed Factory Racing Radical SR8 are catching up with them, and they are catching up very quickly. Hello! What happened? The Speed Factory Racing Radical SR8 hit the fence and stopped! Accident! The car that chased the Dutch team in the battle for the first place. They lacked only several seconds to become leaders, and it's all over now! The Spanish Radical withdrawing from the fight? This can't be! What happened? Let's watch a repeat! Now, did somebody help him? Was it an accident with another competitor, or was it just a driver's mistake? Yes, it's just a driver's mistake! Obviously he came into S-turn too fast just before the start-finish straight and jumped over the side and hit the fence. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what a pity. Such an interesting fight, and there you go. The leaders are no longer in this race. This is a Russian sportsman, Rustam Akinezov, if I can pronounce it rightly. Inexperienced racer was eager to catch up with competitors as soon as possible and made an unforgivable mistake. The team will not be satisfied. The marshals are asking the driver if everything is okay, if he is not hurt, and it seems that the blow was not very strong, and luckily the racer is not injured. There are many accidents in this area, and it is easy to make a mistake. However, the experienced drivers know that if they are unable to stop in time, there is an area that they can enter by the slip straight. There is no need to try to take the turn, because this is how it all ends. And there's more action! Another car making a mistake. Ratomo Racing teams from Lithuania, BMW M3 slips out of the track, but nothing happened. Just like this, in a very broad area, the racer overlooked a braking point and couldn't turn in time. The car drove straight, stopped, but could easily continue the race. It is returning to the track. This is what the Radical driver had to do. Drive straight, turn around, and return on the track. There also was some space to slip from the track in that place. Unfortunately, the racer tried to make the turn. It was a fatal mistake. And ladies and gentlemen, here is Brum Brum Vinemans, yet another Dutch JR Motorsport team, BMW, already being evacuated from the track. The race for this car was full of technical problems, and the car has now stopped. Probably this stop is the final one. At the moment they were in 13th place. Last year, Belgian Benoit Dupont in Zalder's 24-hour race won the second place. Unfortunately, the race in Lithuania was not successful. And here we have a new race leader. Liqui Moly Racing Team Lithuania BMW M3 unexpectedly became leader 6 hours after the start. We don't really believe the results that we're seeing. Our car really is neither as strong nor as powerful that we could fight for the first place. But we still get back the lost time with less refueling or their faster changing. Several times we were lucky to do that during the face of the safety car, and now and again we're chased by the competitors, but we tried to make every effort to keep up. So how does the car take the load in the heat? So far so good, everything works perfectly. We cannot complain about anything. We hope that this will continue. We protect the car, but we also pressure it as much as we can. The track is new and the speed is much higher. Do you like it better? Yes, it allows us to decrease some differences between the cars because of more technical turns, which can be taken faster even with a weaker car. This makes the race more interesting, and it is great. It is even difficult to stand and speak here. And what is the heat in the car? My watch, which also shows the temperature, shows 66 degrees of heat. There are still a couple of hours racing left and the competitors are not far behind you. What is your team's strategy now? Now the most important thing is to drive fast and really protect the car. We plan very carefully when we can stop, when we need to refuel. We're just trying to catch every opportunity, even the smallest, and maximise the use of it. We hope that everything will be fine. Oh, and again, ladies and gentlemen, and again, yes I say again, another accident. This time, Latvia's VIP tuning team's BMW had an accident in the same place where previously Lotus was wrecked. The car slipped in the braking area. It is difficult to see, but probably it's just a driver's mistake. Too quickly came into a sharp turn. Prior to it, the track is not straight. There is a slight turn, so it is difficult for the sportsman to exactly determine the point to brake, and that's probably the reason why the Latvian sportsman made a mistake. Oh! Another major crash right in front of the pit lane before going into the start and finish straight. This is a accident. Oh my god, I can't even speak, ladies and gentlemen. This is a massive one. How many cars took part in it? 2, 3. The track is full of a variety of debris and the marshals will have a lot of work. One car got through the fences, just hanging. But it seems that the cars are not heavily damaged. Only the marshals will have to put a lot of work to arrange the track and remove all those obstacles. 7 hours after the start of the race, there was the biggest accident, where as many as 3 cars took part. Opposite of the pit lane, in front of all the team's mechanics, Radical, Porsche 968 and BMW M3 couldn't share the track. It seems that all 3 cars wanted to fit in turn. Porsche wanted to overtake BMW and Radical was overtaking both of them. Radical just blocked both cars and they all clashed into one another. BMW, being the nearest to the track edge, broke the fences. The safety car comes out yet again because it is a very dangerous place. It's even difficult to drive into the area. Some teams change the drivers at once. The participants use the fact that the safety car is on the track and try to save some time. It is a very smart move. Repeat, it's a pity, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot see the incident itself. The accident was not recorded by cameras, you can only see standing cars. Now marshals will put a lot of work until they remove all the obstacles from the track. Of course, the safety cars appears on the track at once. Now the fences on the track are being repaired. Until they are not repaired, the race cannot continue as it is very unsafe. And another trouble for the girls' team. Where did they smash the front of the car? After all, the safety car is on the track, so the race is paused. How did the girls manage to do such damage to their car? It seems they had no help. It is not a collision with a competitor, and they did it themselves. The car stops. It is Ernesta Globati who got into an accident. The girl is really confused and does not know what to do, how to reach the pits. The car coolant is running out of the car. The radiator punctured. The track will now be very slippery. Here she is trying to rip off the remains of the bumper in order to be able to reach the pits. Very strange accident and hardly possible while driving behind the safety car. But perhaps something happens. Ernesta is a very experienced racer, but has made such a childish mistake. The marshals are trying to restore the track fences, covering the site of the accident with concrete blocks, but it is possible that the race will be stopped. It's been already an hour that they've been desperately trying to clean up that track. This is very important, because one more similar incident in the same spot on the track can be very painful. With no fences, nothing can stop the cars here. As 8 hours have already passed since the start of the race, and according to the rules of the race, it cannot last for more than 10 hours. It is possible that the marshals will decide to stop this race. And ladies and gentlemen, the moment we did not want to happen. The red flag has come out. Yes, that's what's happening. We see the marshals raising a red flag, and the race has been stopped. After 8.5 hours, the race has been stopped. It is the first time in Palanga 1,000 kilometer race history that the race has been stopped earlier than allowed time, and there are red flags raised on the track. And the winners of the race can be happy. They covered 303 laps instead of the 373, which would be a complete 1,000 kilometer distance. It's Liqui Moly Racing Team Lithuania. Unexpectedly, they won this Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. Before the start, the team had hoped to enter the top 10, but after 8 hours, they're in the first place. Happy is Jonas Gelzinis. He won in Palanga 1,000 kilometer race for the 4th time, but for the first time with such an underpowered car. Jonas had won before with Ferrari, Spiker, Porsche, but those were factory prepared cars. This BMW M3 is very different. It is not as powerful, not as well prepared. That makes this victory even more important, and it was more difficult to achieve. Happy is his brother Ignis, who raced in the same team. Ignis and Jonas, two brothers, two students in the FIA Academy of Young Talents, both professional racers. Last year, two brothers Nemenis and Niris Degalia won the Palanga race, and again this year two brothers won, just different ones. Edvinis Arkuskuskas raced along with Jonas and Ignis. Less than half a minute behind the winners was another BMW M3. This is Lithuanian Intro Ray Team Ridis Garbavikas, Robertas Kubakis, and Maris Mazuk in the first 4 finishing positions, BMW cars. Why to race here if you don't expect victory? In fact, realistically, this is a very huge job. It was very difficult to achieve this result. I win this race in Palanga for the 4th time. I have won with different cars, Ferrari, Porsche and Spiker, but this is the first time I won with a car that is prepared in Lithuania. It is not as fast and powerful as the others. It brings more emotion to the victory, yes, because our car was not really the fastest. We felt that since the qualification. We just found our own pace. We did not try to break the car and chase them, as 1,000 kilometers is 1,000 kilometers, and it doesn't mean anything if you win qualification. No one's interested. The most important thing here, when you come to the finish line. Well, there is the top 3 of the fastest racers. The 3rd place, Macro Finance Team with BMW M3, Remus Gerolitis, Thomas Dapsas, Andreas Jeskunikas, and Vitanas Gulbanas. The 2nd place, the Interrail Lithuania Team, also with BMW M3, Rytis Garbavikas, Robertas Kupkikas, Marius Mazuk. And the winners are Liqui Moly Lithuania with BMW M3, Jonas Gelzinis, Ignas Gelzinis, and Edvinis Arkuskuskas. So it was the 15th anniversary of Palanga 1,000 kilometer race. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and we hope you enjoyed every moment of it. We are looking forward to seeing you again next year, and be sure to watch the race live. It's really a great show with no equivalent in Eastern Europe. Goodbye for now.